KAL HALAL YAHAWASHI BAHASHAM YAHAWAH. And I just said, KAL HALAL, all praises, Yahweh. That's who the ignorant call God. Yahawashi, who the ignorant called Jesus Christ. Yahawashi, Mashiach. BAHASHAM in the name. Ruach. That's the Holy Spirit. The Paleo Hebrew. The Lashon Kodash, the Holy Tongue. Um, this is a listen. I'm gonna just I don't have any precepts prepared. I'm gonna just flow through the Spirit. I pray that the Spirit is with me, and I pray that Yahweh, how shall help you to help me, give me, put the Spirit on me to edify you, or to strengthen you and build you up in the faith. Double honor to all the elders and all the apostles who've been laboring in the Spirit. Honor to all honor to all the likewise, all the men listening who know likewise doctrine, and the men and women who believe in likewise doctrine. So it's another digital epistle to the 12 tribes, Israel, 12 tribes of Yahshua. It's like, even though the day's getting close, every time I say the day's close, I know the day's close to me, but and that knowing the time, now is high time to wake up out of our sleep. Our salvation is nearer than we first believed. No. Salvation is nearer than when we believe. And when you get to see, Matthew 12:25. And Jesus knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. Every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. If Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? Or else, how can one enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except if he find a strong man first, and then will he spoil his house? Yeah, I'm gonna keep this short. I mean, I've been trying to do that with all of them.
Miller for 5 minutes.
Madam Speaker, I seek unanimous consent to address the House for 5 minutes.
Gentlewoman is recognized.
Thank you. We face an unprecedented assault on the American way of life by the radical left. Under President Biden's leadership, the left has weaponized the federal government to go after the American people. President Biden is building an IRS army of 85,000 new IRS agents to investigate middle-class Americans and ruin their lives. The Biden IRS wants the power to spy on private citizens' bank accounts and monitor their transactions. Biden's Treasury Secretary said her next goal is to create a new tax on the value of farmland in America. This will destroy the American family farm and eliminate independent food production. The Biden-Harris administration is also weaponizing OSHA to fire Americans who live paycheck to paycheck if they don't make a health care decision about vaccines that left-wing politicians don't like. Madam Speaker, I would just like to note this hypocrisy from pro-abortion liberals who use the "My Body, My Choice" slogan. We watched last week as Biden's Attorney General tried to defend the use of the FBI agents who intimidated, harassed, and want to spy on parents who show up to school board meetings to speak in opposition to the Biden agenda. Middle-class parents are rightfully outraged that President Biden and left-wing school boards want to turn their children against each other with racist curriculum or indoctrinate their young children with perverted sexual content. Americans used to be protected by the First Amendment. They were allowed to speak freely in our society. Our Constitution and Bill of Rights limit the power of the federal government because our nation is a place where people should be free to start independent small businesses and raise their own children. The Biden administration and the radical left have a far different agenda. They want to use the FBI to intimidate and harass Americans. They want to use the IRS to spy on Americans. And they want to use OSHA to fire Americans. The federal government is now a tool, a weapon that they want to use to make Americans obey. My constituents and the American people will not be intimidated by the Biden administration or the radical left, Madam Speaker. We are born free and our rights come from God. Our response to a weaponized federal government is loud and clear. In the spirit of freedom, we say, let's go, Brandon. And with that, I yield back.
The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Arizona, Mr. Tanton.
Isaiah 34:5. The vile person shall be no more called liberal, and the churl, nor the churl said to be bountiful. Look at and see how they really use a liberal agenda to come and target the kids. For as my people, their children are their oppressors, and their women rule over them. O my people, which they led, they caused thee to err, destroy them, and then wear their path. And these are for the punishments of Deuteronomy 28. Because we didn't follow the commandments, the statutes and commandments, until BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, we turned our way and followed after the path of our heathen. You know what I mean? If we sinned, and we followed off the path of our women, causing us to err. We erred. And so now the Lord has just led us into perversion where we're just destroying ourselves. And the Lord shall bring thee and thy king, and thy king with him. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and they shall serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. You know, we got we got most Israelites, Negroes, Latinos, so-called Negroes, so-called natives, so-called Caribbean, so-called West Africans. Literally we're heading into that war. We're trapped by our own zeal. We put that much of death. We praising the same things that we used to be burning. We used to be being crucified on the highways of Rome. Negroes hanging. Now we're praising that. We're praising Caesar Borgia. Or a lot of them are praising Muhammad in Islam. Because I hope a lot of you are Ismailites. We know our dick are sticking at people. But some of y'all are so stigmatic, I just want to see that on the country. So I hope a lot more of that. Or the Farrakhan at least. King David went in captivity. See, and look, coming at your kids with child pornography, and you can't take your kid out to school. You feel like if you take your kid out to school, you're depriving them of a social life or school benefit or educational future. Babylon's done. Babylon's done. He that loveth his son shall cause him off to feel the rod, and that he may have joy of him in the end. You know what I mean? You chasten your son with the rod, you know. Sometimes you gotta keep your hands on your child so you can enjoy them. That's what Jake do. See, that's why Jake is smoother a lot of times. You know, we know Jake's crazy. Now in the last days are going crazy, but you know, you get the beating out the way when you're young. Hopefully they be smooth when they get older. But you know, Esau, and they let their kids become a mess as their children, give them everything, and let them they just be crazy, they be going off, and as adults, then you try to chasten them, but you didn't raise them up. As a child, you need to he that chasteneth his son shall have joy in him, and shall uh, rejoice of him among his acquaintances. You know, 'cause you chasten your son, discipline him. When you talk, all you're gonna do is talk about it. After we get through this fire in the kingdom, all your house is gonna talk about it. But he that teacheth his son to grieve the enemy before his son shall rejoice in him. When you teach your son, you grieve the enemy. When Esau sees you be righteous, grieve it. When Amalek sees you be righteous, grieve it. When Rockefeller sees you be righteous, they grieve it. I told my son not to mess with them sardine rocks. Tell him next to me and grieve it. I try to put my children in order. Like, you know, say I'm mansplaining. That's what I mean, grieved. I told my child was going to teach and he grieved. So the enemy do grieve us when you instruct your child in the righteous way. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among all the nations? The Lord hath opened his army and hath brought forth his weapons of indignation. For this is the work of the Lord Yahweh BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, the power of hosts of armies in the land of the Chaldeans, in this new mystery Babylon, Babylon the Great. It's funny, even when people go off, they're proving prophecy. When you go to a Jake, when you go to a Negro, Latino, Native American, you tell them they're Israelite. They'll argue with you, they'll believe you, all time and all time. But I can show you videos of Kush and Kawash, Ethiopians, claiming that they're Israelites on the history table. The Muslim claiming that they're people of the book. I've even seen Muslims claiming that the Israelites in the Brotherhood, the covenant, would just only exclude Esau, included Ishmael. I've seen Hebrew Ishmaelites. Like Ishmaelites trying to claim it and just place it in the document. And so I have laid snares for thee, thou art also taken, O Babylon, thou art aware, thou hast found, thou hast been caught, thou hast striven against the Lord Yahweh. And you see all these people that were spending, they were going crazy.
At Daikin, we know that the air we share.
People were just living so blasphemous against the Lord that people were living in their lust. People didn't care about the Lord. You know, people just went to church one day a week and then fulfill their wickedness all the rest of the week. And pray for the money, pray for success. and they continue all this since they turn away. They exclude the Old Testament. They turned away the law, turned away prophecy, took away judgment out of the Bible, took away the fear of the Lord. Now, the Lord is really the hammer of the whole earth. Esau, Edom, Babylon the Great, using the IRS as a weapon, taxing only people, causing digital currency collapses, forcing everybody to get on the Bitcoin. See how he went to war and got everyone on his dollar? Now everyone got to collapse with him. You either hop on this Bitcoin, which only he allowed, which he's about to take over again. So I'm saying a lot of people look like they're doing big on they're getting something big on the Bitcoin. That's how I know it's about time. They just claim these numbers just collapse. Stock market collapse every year in October. Damn. You know the Chaldeans are the sorcerers. You look these sorcerers, and they're doing sorcery, rebelling against witchcrafts. They're trying to form this new salvation, this new world order. We shall all be one people. And this build back better. That build back better is the new world order. So if you're in Babylon, you're done. You know they're taking all freedoms. It's Isaiah 5:20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. You wanted some I don't know, some like lemon drop. If someone gave you like a sour candy, you put it in your mouth. Shut. But what if someone really convinced you in the other way? You just accepted it and you just expected that how it was to be. Sweet was bitter, bitter was sweet. That's really what they've done with Babylon the Great. That's why you know that Babylon the Great's not it's not the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church definitely had a reach of had a long reach of pushing wickedness, but you know, in places where they reject Catholicism, that Christianity is mostly rejected in. Babylon can push feminism, can push all these other ideologies a lot easier than religion. Religion can't. What Pope does with religion and how they control religion, America can control religion with just a 501c3 charter. So he's almost moving that way. So now Christians don't even know each other. Maybe some of these Catholics trying to get a religious exemption.
Even for
Texas is recognized.
President, are we in a quorum call?
We're not.
I appreciate that, Mr. President. After months of, well, I won't call it infighting, I'll call it intra-party negotiating. Our Democratic colleagues are still trying to reach an agreement on their multi-trillion-dollar tax and spending spree legislation. They've yet to decide how much money they want to spend. I think the senator from Vermont started at $6 trillion, and then we heard it was $3.5 trillion, and now we're hearing that it may be more on the order of what the senator from West Virginia has said was his cap of $1.5 trillion. We still also don't know how much they are willing to raise taxes to cover the costs, or how far they want to move America into a European welfare state. Still, our colleagues are trying to reach a deal in a matter of days. Our colleagues are rushing to compile the largest peacetime tax hike in American history and see just how much government overreach those hard-earned tax dollars can buy. Some members experience buyer's remorse before even swiping the taxpayer's credit card. So our colleagues are trying to scale back this massive spending bill. We read, but we don't know, but it's reported that they've cut certain programs, like free college, which despite the name, we know that free programs actually cost money because somebody has to pay for it. We also read that they're scaling back other plans, including paid leave and the expanded child tax credit to reduce the short-term costs and hope for more money down the line. And I think if truth be told, once these policies are established, many times they're very difficult to repeal later on, which is why they're trying to establish a toehold, even for a short period of time. But even with these pared down proposals, there's still plenty of government overreach to go around. One of the biggest dreams of our Democratic colleagues is government-run health care. We've heard the left embrace Medicare for all as its rallying cry. Well, the senator who popularized that policy is now chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, Senator Sanders, and he wields a lot of power when it comes to this particular tax and spending bill. It's no surprise that his top priority is a dramatic expansion of Medicare. Initially, we read that our colleagues wanted to lower the age of Medicare eligibility by 5 or 10 years, making tens of millions of younger Americans eligible for this benefit. This, of course, comes at a time when Medicare is in financial trouble already. In just 5 years, the trust fund for Medicare Part A is scheduled to go insolvent. It hardly seems like, while your boat is in danger of sinking, to add more and more people into the boat. Instead of fixing those problems or providing stability for Medicare, our colleagues want to spread those waning dollars even thinner. The sky-high cost of expanding eligibility seems to have eliminated that provision. Again, this is based on reporting, since no one's actually seen the documents. But a massive expansion of benefits apparently is still being discussed. The Congressional Budget Office has estimated that this expansion would cost more than $350 billion in the first 10 years. We'll see if the chairman of the Budget Committee is able to keep this provision off the chopping block. But this is only part of the plan to put the government in greater control of our daily lives, of all Americans' daily lives. Another big ticket item, which certainly must poll well, is free child care. Again, nothing's free. It just means somebody, not you, is having to pay for it. But free programs, as it turns out, don't come cheap. In this case, the original price tag was pegged at $450 billion. The American people won't just pay more in taxes to cover this program. Many families will end up spending more on child care. One left-leaning think tank analyzed the impact of this free child care bill and found that it's likely to have a devastating impact on middle-class families. According to the People's Policy Project, the Democrats' child care plan would cause middle-class families to pay more than $13,000 more a year in child care. That's not just a price increase for the top 1%. That's for people who earn more than their state's median income, which in Texas is just under $62,000. It's hard to imagine a family of 4 that brings home $62,000 a year having an extra $13,000 to spend on child care, especially when they're already being pummeled by inflation and rising costs. We'll see whether all the ways that President Biden was wrong when he said that my Build Back Better agenda costs $0. Of course, nobody believes that, but the president keeps saying it over and over and over again. But the American people are pretty smart, and they understand when the wool's being pulled over their eyes, or when they're being sold a bill of goods by saying, yeah, we're going to spend $3.5 trillion, but it's actually going to cost $0. It's really an insult to their intelligence. Our colleagues across the aisle have also proposed a litany of tax increases on families, workers, and small businesses to cover part of the cost of this massive spending bill. And they hope the increase in the size and power of the Internal Revenue Service will make sure that Big Brother doesn't miss anything. The administration wants to double the size of the Internal Revenue Service by increasing the number of agents by 15% every year for the next decade. Well, we've already seen what a politically motivated IRS can do. We know about the leaking of taxpayer information recently, and we remember the IRS targeting controversy during the Obama administration. IRS bureaucrats subjected conservative groups to a double standard when it came to scrutiny compared to left-leaning groups, nonprofit groups. And it looks like the Biden administration may want to dust off that old playbook. The administration also wants to give the IRS unprecedented power to snoop in your bank account. The administration proposed requiring banks to give the IRS data on accounts with more than $600 in annual transactions. So that means every time you bought a washing machine or a refrigerator, you paid your rent, maybe your mortgage, maybe bought a car, that information would be reported to the IRS. The IRS already knows how much you earn because that's reported, but that's apparently not enough for the IRS surveillance. They want to make sure that the IRS, like Big Brother, knows everything you do, everywhere you go, and who you associate with. Well, this was a $600 annual transaction minimum, and of course that's for an entire year. It's easy to see how that would swoop up virtually everybody in this new government surveillance program. This obviously is not designed to catch billionaires evading their tax responsibilities. It's tough to imagine somebody who wouldn't get caught up in that threshold over the course of an entire year. A single month of rent is higher than $600 in most Texas cities. Well, we know what happened. The blowback was so fierce that our Democratic colleagues said, well, it's not going to be $600 a year. We'll up it to $10,000 a year. But yeah, we'll continue the surveillance of your personal private financial information just so we are sure we don't miss anybody. Well, even at a threshold of $10,000, a widow who gets a monthly stipend from Social Security for $1,500 a month would obviously be a target of IRS snooping under this proposal. It's pretty obvious this is a huge violation of personal privacy. And people are rightfully angry about it. I think people are angry because they don't want to be presumed to be a tax cheat by their own government. I've received letters from nearly 60,000 of my constituents who are opposed to such massive government overreach and invasion of their privacy. And we know it's also an incredible financial and paperwork burden on financial institutions, community banks, credit unions, and the like. Imagine the time and the people and the hours necessary to comply with this new surveillance by your own government. Transmitting the sensitive financial information of almost every customer of a bank or financial institution to the IRS would involve a lot of time and a lot of money that these banks may, or credit unions may or may not have. I've co-sponsored a bill with Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina to prevent the IRS from monitoring American citizens' private financial information. And I was pleased to see our colleague from West Virginia, Senator Manchin, cast doubt on the future of this controversial and unnecessary provision. The truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter if the price tag of this bill is $5.5 trillion, $3.5 trillion, or $1.5 trillion. The goal is the same: to permanently transform America and the role that government plays in our everyday lives. Whether that's through the healthcare system, child care, or through the IRS, there's no line too sacred to cross in pursuit of this ideological nirvana. Our colleagues continue working behind closed doors to determine just how much socialism they want to force on the American people. We still don't know how much this bill will cost. Again, nobody has seen it yet outside of the small group of Democrats who are actually negotiating it, or how much harm it will actually inflict. But we do know one thing, that this is not what the American people bargained for in the last election. The American voter elected a 50-50 Senate. It reduced the Democrat majority in the House and took President Biden at his word when he promised to work in a bipartisan fashion across the aisle. This is not what the American people bargained for. They did not vote to make Joe Biden the next FDR, and they did not vote to have this Buy Back Better bill, or Build Back Better bill, the next New Deal. We will continue to do, once we are able to find out precisely what's in this bill, to do everything we can to fight against this irresponsible taxing and spending bonanza. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
It's crazy. We definitely see where this. So if you should definitely still.
We are rapidly approaching a milestone in our country, and it's not a good one. We're rapidly approaching $30 trillion.
Telling you, rapidly approach $30 trillion in debt, which are like 200 trillion. Leaders. I will set Egyptian against Egyptian, and they shall fight, every one against his brother, every one against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. And we see these Egyptians following this liberal, this Republican, and even if you sit in it. And being more before this truth, being lean more liberal, and hearing about this stuff, and when you apply a lot of the scriptural stuff, you may have the appearance to make you feel like you relate with these conservatives, but we know it's all a trap. We know they're set up. This is paid opposition. They scoff at oppression. America's not a racist country. You know they're all wicked, so don't fall for it. And we're about to see them fight. They're about to fight for their kingdom, this new world. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell, more to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea. For the devil come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath a short time. And this is where we're at. And he got a short time. You really got to get all these taxes. You got to use up all his money. You got to use up every resource. You got to strip you. Even if he just takes all that money and burns it. Even if you don't touch any of that money, it's nothing anyways. All the money's 99% digital. But they're getting used to the system. Now that they can really come through, now a lot of businesses are destroyed. You ain't got to do all this. Now, when there are only like 5 vendors, that the problem will do financial processing too. And you see what OnlyFans, you see what these websites are. Where it's not even the government coming down on these porn sites and child images or aggressive or videos that didn't have a consent or whatever. It's really these credit card companies stopping the payment to um, these websites. So where you need verification, and we know it's the problem. You know, anyone, if you want to live that OnlyFans lifestyle, you want to live that stupid, you don't need that curb rock mud. Yes. And for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings or their princes. See, they don't care about Joe Biden. They're saying, oh, Joe Biden, and Brandon. That's the new song, and Brandon. That's what the girl said. The girl said, let's go, Brandon. That's the Joe Biden. They shall not regard their kings or princesses, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which shameth mischief by law? You see what they're doing with these laws, and you think that America's your friend, or American supported the events anyone can make it. That's the difference between America and all these other countries. You can't just go and make your can't go and just build your own business in a communist country or countries. You know, what a lot of the minorities in America do not feel this country's done. They're showing you that they're purposely squashing all your businesses. They have the George Floyd. They're telling everybody to go burn your businesses. And then now white people run into Capitol Hall. 6 of them get shot, and it's the end of the world. Y'all looking them. What should we get? Shall not all these things take a parable against thee, and a taunting proverb against him? Woe to him that increases which is not his, so he keeps overtaxing and taxing and taxing. Tie those at 10%, you done. Pay that 10%, you done. And you wasn't getting 10% of your property. You weren't paying property tax, like like you know how they frame all this mischief by law. They're really playing games, and then they go spend your money recklessly. Rich people don't pay none. And then they say, oh, we need to go after the rich, and they pass more laws to go to your pockets. It says, woe unto him that increases which is not his. How long could he laden himself with thick clay? And that's debt. Thick clay is debt. No, he's really taxing. Now it really seems like he don't even care about the Constitution. It sounds like this is why Britain rebelled, and now if you rebel, you're a terrorist, you're a conspiracy theorist, all this stuff. Which I'm not calling for no rebellion. You know, how are you gonna come against the hammer of the old hurt Esau? You have our faith in the Lord. False balance is abomination to the Lord, because all their mischief by law, their perfect plan to collapse the society, to collapse the dollar, force you into slavery. False balance is abomination to the Lord. But a just weight is his delight. He liked that gold. He liked that silver. He liked metals. He liked things that have a consistent value that can be used. You know what I mean? If you have all your metal jewelry and I come and I take over you, I can take all them, even if I hit all your works, I can take that gold, I can turn it down to coins, and then the next country takes over me, and all that is converted to trading with the world. The Esau, he don't want a free market. He wants a fixed market. Esau could have robbed all this gold, and then apparently civilization had more gold than he had the whole time. He just come in, take over your society. That's not what Esau wants. Esau don't want another country coming in, because Esau don't have no resources. Bottomless pit. He was given to the bottomless pit. Europe can't till the ground. Especially the curse on Esau. He can't till the ground. So it was over for him when uh, when egos fell out of power, he didn't know what to do. When his pride cometh, then cometh shame, but lowly is wisdom. So when his pride cometh, and pride, the shame is going to come. But the wise, the lowest people, taking their indignation, the Israelites, the men of the Lord. But the integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the preservation of the transgressors, or the perverseness of the transgressors, shall them destroy, because they're perverse, they're sick. Riches shall profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness shall deliver them from death. I know people talking about, oh, you need to buy this way, you need to get a bunker, and that's all I just know. That's what I'm saying. That ain't gonna do nothing. You know, I become worth less. That's what Let's Go Brandon people saw a steak. It was like $650, $80 or something. $70. People going crazy. They know. Spoiling their houses. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the storehouses shall be empty, or shall suddenly be found empty. So notice inflation. Everything's good. Not even coming profit. It's a disaster. They're just collapsing the system. Thy own mouth condemned thee, and now I, thy own lips, testify against you. So it's not even just the prophets. It also be the other Edomites, and they're bringing out so much good information to destroy themselves. It's amazing. It's beautiful to watch. It says, "For doth the mystery of iniquity doth already work." You know, when's the last day? You know, it wasn't fully revealed onto everybody that the Romans were Edomites. You know, everyone talking about the last day, but you know, people don't understand prophecy, so they just really should. But if they don't know that the Edomites are the Romans, or the modern day Americans and the modern day Europeans. So the word is already here. We're already in Antichrist society. You expect? I don't know. If this ain't the time, I don't know what y'all expect, because the chance surgery getting too smooth. They always be looking indistinguishable now. So imagine 50, 100. I know, I can even imagine 10 more years. Can you imagine 5? Can you imagine 2? Can you imagine 1 full year? And the wicked shall be revealed, and the Lord shall consume him with the spirit of his mouth, prophets, and the brightness, and destroy him with the brightness of his coming. The Negro message. And Yahweh shall come in with all glory and his power with the chariots. Who opposeth and exalt himself above all that is called Yahweh BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, or who is worshipped, or that is worshipped, so that he is Yahweh BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, sits in the temple of Yahweh BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, shewing himself that he is Yahweh BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. That's really what he's trying to do. Trying to see every transaction, and ultimately it's going to get to the grogma where he wants to read all your thoughts, take away your salvation, change your DNA, RNA, connect you to the Internet of Things. So that's why all these people shook. Like, people who to be Jews are scared, because it's like, what else is gonna happen? Yeah, I submitted to same job, and they're just trying to bury themselves in their dreams, not knowing the mystery of iniquity does already work in Babylon the Great. You already can pass from all sides. Your food is already seized. Your water is already seized. not turn to Yahweh Yahawashi. And when you see bodies, the bodies get the drama. You better turn to Yahweh Yahawashi. And when the miracles come, you better turn to Yahweh Yahawashi. You're going to turn to Yahweh Yahawashi. Even if you don't know, you turn to Yahweh Yahawashi. You miss out on those, or you may be like the man that they got it right before the crucifixion. Hey, they're all working for the same penny. So yeah, if I put in the 10 years and I find somebody and I give them the truth one day before the Lord comes, this is not a thing that'll actually happen. But, it's gonna. I'm gonna say I do it one day before the Lord comes, and you get the same reward to me. I'm gonna be mad. No, we all fighting for the same penny. And after all these things, man, and he cried mightily, with a strong voice, saying, Babylon, the great, is fallen, is the habitation of all devils, deceivers, and the hold of every foul spirit, and every cage of unclean and hateful birds. You see what they're trying to do? They're really compassionate. They're ooh, I almost forgot. Ooh. All these promises, all these empty promises that they're just gonna take away. I'll just read it. Ecclesiastes 7:7. Surely oppression makes a wise man mad, and a gift grieveth the heart, or a gift destroyeth the heart. All these gifts that Babylon the Great is promising you. I'm scared. All these gifts, yeah, they promising you to cause you to fall in love more and more in Babylon and be more asleep. You get drinking with her wine and her philosophy. The part that we're gonna see it. The Lord has mercy on so many people. I mean, we know the numbers are inflated, but so many people took juice. Crazy. We saw the Lord's plan to become a habitation of devils and deceivers. With that whole house, the whole lion house that cannot stand, is just a lion, and they all play, and they all in it. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of her wrath, Babylon the Great. I've drunk of the wine. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants have waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Look how much rich they were, how much wealth. This debt has only been achievable through all this wealth, and still the debt that they're spending is like a game to destroy the country, because it is. Yeah, they're spending more than they intake. So if they don't purposely bring that order out of chaos, uh, they're gonna lose their kingdom. They're actually falling due to incompetence because they're Edomites. They bring off the clay, and they already created a system that's too garbage to try to fix it now. I heard a voice out of heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers in her sins, and receive not her plagues." Don't receive her plagues. You're gonna be plagued, for her sins have reached unto heaven. BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. I have remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewards you. So this is what you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be in a time you're about to get the kingdom. You're about to chasten all the heathens and the Edomites that oppress you. And double unto her according to her works in the cup which have she filled to her double. So double, to fold it to pay that debt. It's a Middle Eastern custom. If you couldn't pay your debts, you could wait outside the gates of the city, or you could wait at the gates of the city or I believe somewhere in there. Like people be coming in and out, and you would hold like you hold the sign saying like you're death. You just when someone would see like um someone have compassion for you, they say you're dead when you just say it's fold it up. Or hopefully I gave a good description of that, or at least it just helped you for now until you receive a deeper breakdown. How much have how much how much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously in so much torment and sorrow. Give her, she saith in her heart, I said the queen, I am no widow, I will see no sorrow. And then all these people talking like they just gonna be Gucci in the new 100. These people love playing their politician game. Come on. You can see Kamala's face. She ate the work. She garbage at the work. She get mad anytime someone talked to her, but just for her to be in that position, Kamala Harris, top a lot of people out to get to that position. Therefore, uh, therefore therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall utterly burn. She shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord Yahweh, BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, by power, who judgeth her. Uh, and the kings of the earth who committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. She's gonna be burning. Standing afar off, in fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, the great city of Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour if thy judgment comes. It's gonna be so quick. This is just the beginning of the plagues. IRS plague, newly created beasts, Leviathan, nuclear missiles, biochemical weapons, the time release, and the dragon juice. That time space sword and the dragon release. I'm gonna call it the time space sword. Coming for your time and your space. Hey, how about Shemi outside have mercy on us? Whether you took the dragon juice or you didn't, and if you took it and you didn't know, repent. But then, how about Shemi outside don't take the spirit off you and you fight and you pray. This is of ourselves. Go how about Shemi outside? The question was edifying. Don't let the kids destroy your heart. I'm showing you. The system is just garbage. It's falling apart.